Hauiti, tēnā koe.
Tēnā koe, Mr. Speaker. Ka tūake ahau ki te mihia te iwi o Ngai Tuhoe, tēnā koutou katoa. This has been a long journey for Ngai Tuhoe, and while we need to reflect on the significance of today, we must also focus on passing this bill and setting in motion the next phase of Tuhoe and Crown relationship. This bill gives effect to the deed of settlement signed at Parliament on 4 June by Te Kotahia Tuhoe iwi negotiators and the Crown. It was a momentous occasion with almost 1,000 Ngai Tuhoe members in attendance. It provides redress for Ngai Tuhoe's historic treaty claims. Ngai Tuhoe's grievances are significant and long-standing. The impacts of Crown actions were severe, almost the worst in our history. They include Opatu during the 1860s and Crown military operations, which resulted in widespread destruction and loss of life. This bill provides an historic account of and apology for these terrible breaches of the treaty. It provides commercial redress totalling $170 million, along with the earlier on-account forestry settlement as part of the Central North Island Iwi Collective. It also provides for mana motuhake redress. Mana motuhake has unique meanings for different iwi. For Ngai Tuhoe, mana motuhake is connected to Te Urewera, the whenua within which they dwell. These lands that sustained Tuhoe in times of adversity and in times of peace. Simply put, mana motuhake is entwined with Tuhoetanga. Mana motuhake is in the songs sung, the haka performed, and on the haki that has become known as Tuhoe symbol. Mana motuhake for Tuhoe is simply, but implicitly, Tuhoe whenua, Tuhoe tangata, Tuhoe self-determination, the distinctiveness of autonomy, self-sufficiency, self-respect, self-discipline, independence of judgment and decision-making. Mana motuhake or Tuhoe is responsibility for wise and beneficial leadership, protecting the environment and therefore the resources of the community, its life force, its integrity. By cleaving to that ethos, Tuhoe will pursue and enhance the autonomy of its people and its homeland, deciding how they will develop, manage, maintain health, education, infrastructure, employment, capability and leadership. Mr. Speaker, this bill incorporates a social service management plan for the Tuhoe rohe, governing relationships with and better management and delivery of services by key Crown agencies and Tuhoe over the long term. At the heart of the settlement in the bill are the new arrangements for Te Urewera. Ngai Tuhoe's relationship with Te Urewera is unique. The significance of Te Urewera to Ngai Tuhoe, the people are embedded in the landscape, they breathe as one. With the rolling contours, so too does their blood within each Tuhoe descendant flow. Te Urewera and Ngai Tuhoe are not an extension of each other, they are each other and one another. Te Urewera National Park was established in 1954, but its origins date back to the New Zealand Wars and the rongo pai agreed between Tuhoe and Crown in 1871. After invasion and unjust confiscation in 1866 and 3 years of Crown's brutal scorched earth tactics from 1869 to 1871, which devastated this district and left 1 in 8 Tuhoe dead, most from starvation and illness, peace was welcome. In exchange for Tuhoe continuing to preserve the peace, the Crown pledged to leave what was left of Te Urewera as an inviolate protectorate within which Tuhoe, through Te Whitu Te Kau, would manage their own affairs. For a time after 1871, the government respected Tuhoe's wishes to preserve their homeland, but the edges of Te Urewera were progressively nibbled away through shady shonky government land deals with neighbouring iwi who held shared interest in Te Urewera's borderlands. By the 1890s, Te Urewera was an encircled land and Tuhoe strived to preserve what remained. When the government began to impose costly surveys of their land in 1892, Tuhoe protested. The military, including an Auckland artillery dispatchment, were promptly sent in to enforce the survey, and 15 Tuhoe were arrested and imprisoned. And we heard the Minister talk about Premier Richard Seddon's visit to Te Urewera in 1894. In 1896, Parliament enacted the Urewera District Native Reserve Act. This purported to provide for a measure of local self-government over a 656,000-acre Urewera reserve, and for decisions about the land, the use of the land, to be made collectively according to Māori custom. However, the Crown never implemented the self-government provisions of the Act and undermined its protective provisions. In April 1916, the assault by 70 armed police on Maunga Pōhatu to arrest the Prophet Ruakenana, an illegal act in which 2 Tuhoe men shot dead. Roading and survey costs imposed on Tuhoe under 1921 Urewera consolidation scheme resulted in a significant loss of land. Harsh tactics were used to acquire land at Waikare Moana. The Act was repealed in 1922. In 1954, the Crown established Te Urewera National Park, which included most of Tuhoe's traditional lands. The Crown did not consult Tuhoe about this and did not recognise Tuhoe as having any special interest in the park or its management. This legislation provides new arrangements which confirm Tuhoe to Te Urewera, and for that connection to be strengthened through Tuhoe's role in its governance and management. Te Urewera will no longer fall under the National Parks Act. It has its own mana, its own mauri. The legislation provides that Te Urewera will have its own legal identity and the land be vested in that identity. Tuhoe will have an increasing role in management over time, with the Department of Conservation working alongside Tuhoe. Tuhoe and the Department of Conservation will enhance Te Urewera as a place of outstanding natural, recreation and cultural value. It will be a place that all New Zealanders will enjoy. This is not the end of the Ngai Tuhoe Crown relationship, but a new beginning of a post-settlement relationship. This bill gives mana to mana motuhake o Ngai Tuhoe to go forward confidently to set its economic growth agenda, to invest domestically and globally, to investigate and enter joint ventures, to develop, manage and sustain Ngai Tuhoe business operations. Nō reira, Mr Speaker, ka whakatua hau I tēnei pere ki tēnei whare. Tēnā koutou katoa. Kia ora.
Kei te pai. Honourable members, the question is that the motion be agreed to. Those who are of the, those who are of that opinion will say aye. Contrary, no. The ayes have it.
Te Urewera Tuhoe Bill, first reading.
The question is that the Te Urewera Tuhoe Bill be considered by the Māori Affairs Committee. Those of that opinion will please say aye. The contrary, no. The ayes have it. Now, I understand, honourable members, that permission has been granted for a pōwhiri, a waiata. So I would invite those in the gallery who are going to do the waiata to please lead.